Really quick, before we begin, I must gush about what I'm wearing. Another thing to add to things I didn't know I could do is pull off my husband's shirts. Quite fucking literally. This is a look I have never felt so good and also so gay. Anyway, thank you for indulging me for a second. Now to the content. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're having another chillaxed video and I'm going to talk about something that I like to do outside of games and whatnot. And that is writing. I am writing a book. Yep. Okay, thanks for watching. Bye! Nah, on a real note. So I am currently in the process of trying to write a book. I began working on it in 2017, so it's been about 3 years. And recently I have taken, a bit of a step back just from being, too unfocused to really get into the nitty-gritty of writing this book. But now I've found some inspiration again, and I want to talk about some of the joys and woes of trying to write a story. Now whether you're just, an avid reader, someone that likes a little bit of fan fiction every now and then, all kinds of media intake that you process through reading with your eyeballs, all of it is valid and we don't shame here. If you like your smutty fanfics, cool, that's fine. If you like your cheesy romance novels, cool, that's fine. If you like George R.R. Martin, that's fine too. Everything is welcome. So the book that I am writing about, let me tell you about it. I wanted to write about a journey, and the journey is basically getting from point A to point B, but the general story overall is how you just spend the journey along the way. Like, how does it begin? What happens throughout this traveling that these characters do? And then what happens when they finally get to their destination? Which sounds like literally any book plot ever. I was kind of inspired by The Last of Us in a way, where you begin, playing as Joel. You get this girl forced upon you and you have to transport her to one place, but then shit goes wrong and then you have to try and make the journey yourself to, get her from point A to point B. And so that was a little bit of inspiration for my own story. My story, without giving too much details because I'm paranoid for some reason that people will steal my ideas, which is ridiculous. I mean, it does happen though, so I do have some validity for feeling that way. But what I will say is that the placeholder name is Wardens for now, and it's about a father and daughter. Bryce and Maven Blackwood are their names, and they are from a shunned monster hunting guild. Once they were, hailed as heroes throughout, the land that they live in, but then some events in history happened that made society hate them and mistrust them, yet still ask for their help and then shun them again after. Basically, if you think of, The Witcher, it's kind of similar to that if I had to compare it to anything. But they gain their powers through drinking dragon blood. And that little fact alone is just like, it's a can of worms that has been shaken up, and then as soon as you open it, there's just worms coming out everywhere. And those worms in this context are, what the fuck does that mean? Why do they get the powers from this dragon blood? How? When? What? Just a general what the fuck at just hearing it without going into the inner depths and details. I promise I have thought about this. But they're trying to bring some honor back to their guild because these two characters in particular are shunned for specific reasons. More so than other members of the guild. They are shunned from within their own guild. So a job pops up and they go to see the job, and it's meant to be a delivery job. They are hired as escorts. What they don't realise until they get there is that they are escorting the princess of the current king, who herself was shunned away for her own reasons as well. And the reasons that she was shunned is because she is a mage. And in this particular kingdom, in this universe, magic is not trusted at all because, you know, wizards and sorceresses, what have you, are always scheming. And you can't trust them because they're filthy, filthy magic users. And so the story is about this small family, this father and daughter, trying to get the princess from point A to point B, which is this area that they pick her up to back at her own castle because her father wants her back for reasons unknown. And one of the things that makes it hard to write a book is figuring out how to approach certain day-to-day topics which are relevant to, you know, a modern day society. One of those is sexuality. The two main characters will eventually, you know, get together, Maven Blackwood and the princess character. I do plan on them having a romance. And I am very, very new to writing LGBT stuff. I am an LGBT. I identify as bisexual, but I don't have much experience in the dating women side of things, so through means outside of writing this particular story, I've dabbled in fanfiction. I'm going to be upfront. I've used fanfiction as a way to figure out how to write a romantic relationship between two women. Because I do think there are certain details that make dating a woman different from dating a man. So I like to take in different forms of media. I'm trying to find more woman loving women books to sort of broaden my perspective on how other authors and writers have approached, you know, lesbian romance. But aside from the lesbian romance that's going to be in the book, I'm also exploring how to write a father-daughter relationship. I want to write something that is realistic and that maybe some people can relate to with the interactions that Bryce and Maven have together. Now what's interesting with writing a father-daughter relationship is that how you write it definitely can be kind of influenced on your own upbringing with your own parents. You can have a really good relationship, you can have a kind of distant relationship, but there's still some mutual respect there. Or you will have a toxic relationship where you'd rather not talk to them. And I'm kind of taking the healthy relationship and the toxic relationships, so the healthy being Maven and Bryce's relationship, and exploring how, you know, those two characters interact with each other, and the king and the princess's relationship. Her name is Evelyn, by the way, so it's probably easier to call her Evelyn than the princess. Exploring the king and Evelyn's father-daughter relationship and what makes that kind of toxic, and sort of figuring out the details of both of these different familial relationships and what makes them different from each other. And then through doing that, seeing how they interact with others, how they begin to learn how to trust another person from their own experiences dealing with people. Just all of that is basically what I want to focus on in this book. Now, a method that I've found that is helping me get the creative flow going, if you will, is, well, there's a couple of things. And yes, both of them are dorky. I've mentioned fanfiction a few times, and yes, I write fanfiction. I won't apologise. I have written axed pieces. I have written fluff. I have written smut. I have written smut. And that smut is done very fucking well. Writing smut was weird. It kind of makes me uncomfortable a little bit, but it paid off. It paid off. And people liked it. Sinful bitches liked it. So it made me happy. And I feel like fanfiction gets a really bad rep. Granted, it deserves it in some cases, because some people that write fanfics don't, like, they have no sense of, how do I explain this? They have no sense of, wow, that's too far. And I'm talking about, like, you know, the K-pop stans and people that write reader/insert celebrity name here fanfics. And how even fics shipping two real life people together. I find those really disturbing, personally, because that's a real person. You shouldn't do that. It's a little weird. But that aside, you can really kind of hone your writing skills through writing fanfiction. I cringe thinking about my writing back in, 2014, 2013, because I wrote some cringy shit then. But outside of that, I feel like my experience with writing fanfiction has definitely helped sort of sharpen my writing a little bit more. So that's method number 1. And method number 2 is writing blogs. Start up a writing blog. I've started up one myself. If you want to check it out, I'll leave it in the pinned comment. I just talk about things that are too inappropriate for a Facebook post or a Twitter tweet or a YouTube video. That's where they go. They go in the blog. And article writing is different from creative writing because you have to think of how to structure a paragraph in a way that doesn't get too wordy, and I don't know, you get your point across clearly, and you have a strong beginning, and you have to hold interest with what you write in the middle and then round it up in a nice little bow at the end. Introduction piece aside, I have written an article about how living in a toxic household can affect your period. Yeah, I get personal. I'm kind of the CEO of not giving a fuck about what I write or post on any social media nowadays. So that's on there. And through writing that, I found that, I don't know, if I begin writing fanfic or blog posts like regularly during the week, that helps keep my mind going for when I'm trying to write a book. Because my critical thinking is on, and that helps with trying to figure out what the fuck to write next. Wardens is very important to me. I've had this story idea in my head for a long time. I'm trying to figure out how I can make these outcasted warriors that have dragon blood going through their veins, enhancing their own physical abilities and mental capabilities, and then taking that but also adding a love story to it as well. Is very, very interesting. I'm also trying to read more and look at how other authors have written stories and, you know, let that kind of influence how I write personally, but also sort of nitpicking here and there pieces that I don't like in their stories. Just critiquing. We welcome it and accept it here, as long as it is within fair grounds and you're not being a cunt about it. Anyway, that is the video for today. Thank you for watching. I really hope I can make this book work. I'll keep y'all updated if you're interested. If you do want to hear more about it, let me know. But yeah, I want this to work. I really do. I want to tell these stories of these 3 characters and then flesh out what they're like. In summary, this book deals with having anxiety, dragons and other fantasy elements. You have an LGBT relationship. You have toxic family dynamics. I want to incorporate all of these things and flesh them out and see where their stories go and how they deal with the consequences of living, for example, living in a toxic environment and trying to navigate social situations, or feeling like what they do is inadequate because everyone in the world hates them and they're just trying to do good. So should they still try and do good, or should they just go down the path that society expects them to, which is evil? You know, all of these themes are basically what's going to be in Wardens. And of course, a massive thank you to my current patrons of 2020. They are, of course, Nicholas Montoya, Cooladora, Kazgirl, and Zapfanouch. And if you want to see your name shouted out at the end of the video like these amazing people right here, do hop on over to my Patreon and check out all the cool rewards on offer. And thank you so much for all of the amazing support you guys give me on that platform. It has funded many different things on this channel and also has kept me fed. So thank you very much for all the support on Patreon. It is IceWire signing off, and I'll see you in 2 minutes later next time on the channel. Have a lovely day / night wherever you are in the world, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!